Hello, hello, good morning, everyone. As you start coming on in here, welcome to Sick of This Shit Publications. I'm Nick Parrow, not your dad, joined by my good friend Lawrence Winnerman of the Daily Whatever, Blue Amp Media. Lawrence Winnerman writes. That's still the name of it, correct?
Yeah, I changed the name. It's called The
You
Hinge in
changed.
the Near Field now.
Ooh, I like that. The Hinge and the Near Field.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Lawrence, welcome back, my friend. It's been
Thank
a
you.
while since I've had you on. And I know you've been busy. I know you've been doing a ton. Wanted to get back and talk with you a little bit more about masculinity, projects that you've been doing on better humaning for yourself, how those types of projects influence your life. But for those who may not know you, which I'm assuming everybody in our audience does know who you are, but if they don't, can you reintroduce yourself for everyone?
Sure. Absolutely. I'm Lawrence Winnerman. I am a writer, and in addition to my own Substack, The Hinge and the Near Field, where I write about events that I think are connected in the modern world that maybe not everybody sees as connected, and then spin those into kind of near future scenarios, because at heart, I'm a science fiction writer. I do that. I am co-host of the Daily Whatever show with Dana Dubois, and I'm the COO of Blue Amp Media with Cliff Schechter and David Schuster. And I mean, that's just what I do on Substack, man.
You're not that busy, are you?
I'm a cat dad. They are both sitting here next to me on my desk, like, Papa, pay attention to us.
I'm assuming we'll see them at some point throughout the
inevitably,
discussion.
they will walk across the screen. You will see tails and other cat body parts move across the screen. Absolutely.
We'll have a cat butt mid show.
For sure.
Have you renamed any of them to Princess Donut yet? The Queen and Chunk?
I have not, because there's only one. Imagine how many cats are going to be named Princess Donut from here on out. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
That is going to be like a generation of cat names forever. Like, like people who got little puppies and named them Dobby during the Harry Potter craze, right?
The sad part was they did all the ugliest dogs too, so it was just really gross Dobbies.
No,
my aunt had a Gizmo, a pocket-sized teacup Chihuahua that looked like
Perfect.
Gizmo the Gremlin, and rode in her pocket while she was on a motorcycle, and it's like the best. Gizmo is a good dog.
Oh, you're wearing your Power Rangers shirt. I should have worn mine. Aww.
Hey, but at least we're matching in terms of our old theme, though.
That's
you were
true.
The Blue Ranger with us.
I was the Blue Ranger.
And I'm the Red Ranger. We're just missing our Green Ranger, which I've actually talked to Jake, and he's going to be coming on here in a couple weeks for an intelligent masculinity show. He's doing, from what I know, really well and is starting some cool new stuff. He's been competing in competitions, showing off his body on threads, hammering people on threads for being assholes, just generally being a great dude.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we'll do a reunion tour of the Knights of the Rainbow Table. Why not?
Yeah, we absolutely should. So how far along in Dungeon Crawler Carl are you? Are you through book 8?
I've read all the books, like 3 or I've listened on audiobook to all the books probably 3 or 4 times, if not more.
Nice. I've read through them all twice. And I'll sometimes like remember a scene, and I'll go back and end up like reading several chapters just because I want to like refresh my memory on that scene. God, I love those books. They're so cool. And I cannot wait for the TV show. Like, knowing that Seth MacFarlane is producing the TV show is such a huge deal.
I think they're casting Matt Dinniman as Princess Donut too.
You mean Jeff Hayes, the
Jeff Hayes as Princess Donut, because you can't have another Princess Donut. Like
Right.
he
Like he
is
is so clearly the voice. Yeah.
he's clearly, and you've got, I mean, Mongo's going to be appalled if anybody is a different Princess Donut.
Yeah.
Mongo's appalled. That's
Yeah. I love that there's a whole new set of like little weird inside joke sayings that, like, if you've read Dungeon Crawler Carl, you get it. If you haven't, you have no idea what the fuck people are talking about.
I mean, I've got a little Samantha head just
amazing.
Sits on my desk, sits under my desk. My
Right.
wife has a Prepotente one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're fans.
Yeah. I honestly, it's just really, really good storytelling.
It really is.
Yeah. And I love the story of how he started writing it, he serialized it through Amazon, and then it just got really popular. It was one of those things where he got a book deal because it was successful first. And and that's amazing.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because you're a writer too, and like what you see in Matt Dinniman's writing, and like why do you really like it? Well, like from a writer's standpoint, like what stands out to you in the story, and are you able to work in any of those influences and those styles into your writing?
Well, it's interesting. I don't know. I would say that we have a similar writing voice. And I think that is not because I was influenced by him, but because we were influenced by the same people. Right. And so when you listen to him talking about who influenced him, like he talks about the Peter Hamilton Commonwealth series and the Expanse series, and there's a sort of a close third voice in science fiction writing that I think is really intimate and kind of a great. I mean, it's interesting, right? Because he writes in first person. I write in close third. But there's like a voice tonality that I really appreciate in his writing, and I see where it comes from. Like if you have grown up reading science fiction, as I know you have, and I have, like you can kind of track sort of where that voice comes from. And it sounds like he's a pantser when he writes. Like he kind of roughly knows the idea of where the story is going, but he just kind of sits down and like lets the spirit move him and kind of writes from the seat of his pants, which is what I do too. And it's kind of all of the experiences I've had in my life of kind of getting into the flow zone have come through writing in that way. And I absolutely love it. I also love that there are conventions he follows, there are conventions that he breaks them intentionally. You can tell that he's breaking them intentionally. He's not afraid of a good like sex innuendo. He's not afraid to swear. Like those are all things. He's not afraid to do the I'm absolutely a pantser for sure. And he's not afraid to like break the glass and do the big thing and like blow something up. And I love that, because I don't know if you remember this, but like when I was growing up, every science fiction story seemed to, at least like in the era that I was first absorbing stuff, in the 70s and 80s, there was always a happy ending, right? Or there was always like the big disaster didn't happen. Like one of the reasons that I loved Lucifer's Hammer, right? Which is one of the first stories about asteroid impact that I read, is because the big bad thing happens, right? Like I'm the kid that when I was watching Superman, the first Christopher Reeve Superman, at the end, when he sets off the bomb and California is supposed to fall into the ocean, I was like, fuck, I really want to see California fall. Like I want to see
you want to see the thing.
Right. Yeah. I want to see the thing happen. I want to see the big bad thing occur. And so I love that Dinniman isn't afraid to do that, because that's something that I like to do in my own writing as well. And for people who know, and those who don't, I'm writing a novel. I've serialized it on my site, The Hinge and the Nearfield. And I'm actually currently in the middle of writing a short story that I am submitting to a friend of mine by this Monday for consideration in an anthology. So
that's awesome. That's amazing, man. Congratulations on all of that.
Thank you.
I love hearing the good news from you and the good things that are coming for you and the work that you're putting in. I also love the one. I need to ask, what does pantster actually mean? Not a term I'm as familiar with.
Yeah. So in kind of writing circles, people often talk about being a plotter or a pantser. A plotter is the person who sits down and they know the plot. They know every beat of the plot, scene by scene, and they'll sit down and they'll write the outline. This happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens. A pantser is somebody who absolutely writes by flying by the seat of their pants. And they like maybe they know the direction the story is going to go, but then they sit down and write. And the thing that happens to me and to many other pantsers is sometimes the story tells you where it wants to go as you're writing it. And you may have ideas about where you think the story was going to go, and it changes on you. It reveals itself as you're writing. And, people who've listened to me talk about this before know that I have a muse. They are a gender nonconforming, non-binary muse whose name I don't know yet. I just know that they wear steel-toed boots and they like to kick me in the head as I wake up in the morning and drop story ideas into my brain. And when I am writing, I will often feel like I am channeling the voice or in conversation with my character. And in the novel that I'm writing, there are three main point of view characters. And I can tell you that they are real people in some other dimension. And I am literally talking to them about their lives as I write their chapters. Like they are telling me how the story goes. And it is the coolest and also a little bit terrifying. Because
I could see that.
Sometimes you get really attached to the way you think a story is going to go. Like, if you've ever read a book or watched a movie and you've got a really solid idea of what you think should happen to these characters, and then something different happens and you're like, oh, I actually didn't like that movie as much as I thought I would because it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. So there's
I get that. Thanks. I appreciate once you started explaining it, I was like, oh, flying by the seat of their pants. That makes so much sense. And like thinking about from the Dungeon Crawler Carl side, I know that Matt Dinneman crowdsources some of his ideas. He does like Patreon polls and stuff to see what's next and where it should go. What do you think about the fact that the book is actually, he has labeled the book as a tragedy? And what do you think that portends for the rest of the series? Because we're getting close to the end here. And hopefully we're not ruining it for too many people. The book's been out for a little while now, so we've given folks time to be able to talk about it and read it. But what do you think is gonna, like, how do you see it playing out? And like, is that something that you see do you see that type of story in what you have been writing too? Or are you writing, like, do you see, it's a multi-level question. Let's start with the Matt Dinneman side. Is what do you see about the book or how does it make you feel that the book is a tragedy or the series is actually a tragedy?
I mean, it makes sense, right? Like he's, for folks who don't know the book, the premise, which, you may think sounds silly in just describing it here, but is actually pretty profound, is that the earth is conquered like instantly, immediately, like in seconds by an alien galactic civilization, multi-species galactic civilization that is essentially using the earth as a resource. And some of the people who survive are then forced to play a game, which is like an elaborate dungeon crawler game. So this is part of a genre called lit RPG, which is literary role-playing game. So it's as if you were playing a big game of Dungeons and Dragons or something, but you're reading about the people, who are playing the game. It's not like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. And so in that sense, like, it absolutely makes sense that it's a tragedy, right? It is about the end of human civilization as we know it. And I think he does an excellent job. My contention is, you'll read the first book and I feel like, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be intrigued, you'll, kind of want to continue and read the second book. I don't think you get the full scope in the first book of how big and how intricate and how deep Dinniman is going to go with the entire conversation. But it really ultimately ends up being like anti-corporate, anti-capitalist. It is a lot about colonization and dominion. It is about free will. It is about the human experience. It's about what makes us human. It's about what boundaries we can and cannot transgress and remain human. It is absolutely fascinating. It is incredibly well done, and it's an incredibly fun read. But when you think about what he's writing about, it is the end of human civilization. It is the utter destruction of everything that we hold sacred. And so from that light, like, yeah, man, I'm not surprised that it's a tragedy. And that resonates for me because I think everything that I write is in some way a tragedy, right? Like I write queer sci-fi. I accidentally on purpose, as I was writing my novel, realized that all the main characters were queer. And then I decided, fuck that. That's going to be my signature. Like, I write queer sci-fi. I don't write straight sci-fi because there's plenty of that. It's existed for generations. I don't need more of it. I need the science fiction that I would have read when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so, but everything that I write, I think, is both a love story and a tragedy because I kind of think that's the most authentic human experience, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Loss and how we deal with it.
Well, thinking about loss and how we deal with it, how do you use your own experiences then? Because I know we've talked about your book before and your writings before, and how sometimes it feels like you're trying to keep ahead of what's going on in the real world, and hopefully not prophesizing what is going to happen. But how do you deal with bringing in your life influences, your ideas of humaning and how you perceive the world and how you engage with those around you? How do you help bring that to life in your characters?
Yeah, my novel, again, the first 7 chapters are up on my website and available to read. My novel is set in a nearish future in 2042 after the United States has gone through the Second Civil War and a global super depression. And it occurs in the 14 nations that spring out of the remains of the United States. One of them is, of course, the Confederacy, because I, like many people here, I think, believe that if MAGA had its druthers, they would reconstitute the Confederacy with full-on slavery. The minute they were able to.
Well, I mean, we see ICE nowadays, as I've called them, you've called them, others have called them, as their modern day slave catchers.
Absolutely. They're the Gestapo, they're slave catchers. They're, the fact that we're seeing Black people murdered by being lynched, hung from trees
all across the South.
Like, no one can convince me that if this country truly broke up and the South became its own nation again, that it would revert to slavery, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, right? Like they would go full on back to slavery. They'd go back to absolute
at minimum, it would be a full on caste system.
Correct. Correct. And so, so for me, I'm a patriot, right? Like I love the United States. Yes, let's have the conversation about the million things the United States has done wrong, and the original sin of slavery, and the original sin of the decimation of the native population, and all of the fucked up shit that we've done, like overthrowing, Mossad in Iran and installing the Shah. Like, America fucking sucks. Except
our
that,
empire building is bad.
right? Our empire building is bad. Except that also it is still the light and hope of the world. In my heart of hearts, I absolutely believe that there's no other nation better positioned, even still, to be the light and the hope of the world, and to be an example of democracy done right. We're clearly not doing that at the moment. And so my novel is, what happens if it all breaks? What happens if it all fails? What happens if we have a second civil war? So there's that piece of it, and then I'm writing it from these queer perspectives, and one of the characters is a Black woman who is a lesbian, who's the president of the Free Republic of Cascadia, and she is, all my characters are me, but she's like the patriot part of me that fought for America and then had to build a country kind of, with her own bare hands, that lived up to the ideals of Dr. King and our better angels. And there's Jake, who's the gay kid growing up in the Confederacy, who is, the piece of me that grew up closeted and terrified of coming out and fearing. So in that way, it's a tragedy. Those stories are tragedies, right? So yeah, sorry.
No,
I went off on a vast tangent there.
Well, I asked you to go on a tangent. I love it. It's wonderful that you did. And it's very, beautiful is a great way to describe it, Rose.
Thanks, Rose.
It's beautiful. And if you haven't listened to Lawrence read through the chapters that are out, you all really should. Like, it is a heartfelt book. It is touching. It is, I used to listen in when Lawrence was doing the live readings for them, when he had time to do that. And
right.
He brings the characters to life because they're you, and they express different parts of you. And I think that's wonderful.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate that insight because it's really true.
Yeah, you're welcome. And good, Courtney, I'm glad you got them queued up. And it's a great way to dive into fantasy and near future fiction, and semi-dystopian fiction, and support a friend. And Lawrence has a soothing voice when he reads, like he brings the characters to life, like you get that Papa Bear feel. But I've seen you do other writings too that are not your fantasy writings. I've been watching that you had done a series that you just completed on reimagining the economy and what a reimagined economy would look like.
Yeah.
How has your writing that you've done on like a personal style, how has that influenced what you're doing to help reimagine for a better future? Because it's almost like you're writing the dystopian future, and then you're writing in parallel the semi-utopian or the utopian future that allows us a path forward to never get to your dystopian path.
Yeah. Come here, sweetie.
I love that you're trying to get your cat up. I had to silence myself because my dog was sleeping in the background, scratching on the floor and making noise. Oh, she's so cute.
She is cute. She's a cutie. That's Ripley. I keep her inside because if I let her out, she would conquer the world in a day. And
believe it or not,
I am not sure that we are ready for that. Yeah, it's interesting. So, to give proper credit where it's due, my new friend Ann Kramer really was the motive force behind imagining a new economy, and the series was really a lot about, so, I've been writing a lot about the economy, both for, Beth says that's why she stays indoors too. Good for you, Beth. It's good to acknowledge that if you were set free into the world, you would conquer it. Although I personally am rooting for that. I think you should. So I've been writing a lot about the economy. There's so much that we need to know and understand about what's going on in the economy right now, and with AI. And I think people know that I've been very impacted by AI. It absolutely was a factor in me being pushed out of my 25-year career as a tech project and program manager. I have been very, very deeply into using Claude. I have a Claude subscription. I've kind of taught myself everything about MCP integrations and skill creation, and conflicted isn't even the right word, right? Like, I am absolutely convinced that this is the biggest thing that is happening in the economy and in the world right now. And there are a lot of big things happening, but the industrial revolution of AI and what that means for the future of humanity is, I think, the biggest thing that we are all not paying enough attention to. Even if you're paying a ton of fucking attention to it, I think we need more people to understand what is coming and what is happening. And I think that it is going to help us figure out fusion and cure cancer. And I also think it is going to be the thing that kills us all.
That singularity thing.
I mean, beyond the singularity, so this is a total tangent, but I'm currently reading Annie Jacobson's Biological War, a Scenario, which is her follow-up book to Nuclear War, a Scenario, which, when I read that a year ago, it gave me a million sleepless nights. I'm literally in the middle of biological war right now. And how do I say this right? I don't think we're going to make it.
I think that's pretty clear. Why?
I really don't think we're going to make it. And it is reordering my priorities internally, because I am now actively thinking about, when the collapse comes, where do I want to be? And it isn't Fort Wayne, Indiana. And who do I want to be around, right? Who do I want to be surrounded by? And what would I do? Like, what would my plan of action be? So Annie Jacobson's Biological War is terrifying. Everyone should read it. I don't think people know how much money and time and effort both the old Soviet Union, the current Russian Federation, the United States government, and many other governments around the world have spent in designing biological weapons of inconceivable mass death. I am becoming more convinced that COVID was actually a lab leak, and also that the euphemism of labs around the world. So there are something like 150 level 4 biocontainment labs around the world, and like 3,000 or 3,500 level 3. Those are the places where they experiment on viruses and bacteria. And one of the things that they often do is called gain of effect or something like that, which is basically, like, let's take a flu that kills 3% of people and turn it into a flu that kills 80% of people. And they say they're doing that so that they can understand the way the virus works and they can come up with countermeasures to it. But also it's a way to conduct biological weapons research that kind of elides the truth that apparently all nations are doing. I'm really getting off on a tangent here, but this is what you get with me, Nick. I think the possibility that someone using AI, so there's a real live news story from just this past week, and I won Fucked Up Friday with it, or I think we tied in Fucked Up Friday this week, that researchers at Stanford have taken an AI, an LLM that was designed specifically to understand molecular biology, and they fed into it the genetic code for, like hundreds of thousands of bacteriophages, viruses that specifically kill bacteria. And then they said, hey, you've read the cookbook, like you've got every recipe in the cookbook. Now make up new recipes for me based on what make up new recipes. And so the thing spit out several thousand new recipes for bacteriophages. And the scientists took 300 of them and actually crafted them, right? They assembled the genetic code, lysine, cysteine, alanine, glutamine, whatever, built, and 16 of them worked. 16 viruses that had never existed in the world before, that were created out of the mind of an LLM that had read the recipes for every other one that exists, were invented and created, and they worked, they lived, they replicated, and they did everything that viruses do. Gain of function, Jandro, thank you. It's called gain of function research in bioweapons labs. The way in which artificial intelligence power is increasing exponentially, faster than we can understand and faster than we can wrap our arms around, it is only a matter of time before some idiot, some asshole, some terrorist, some stupid fucking kid in a basement says, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if I could create a virus that killed all the all the Jews, all the black people, all the left-handed people, all the whatever.
Hey, leave us left-handed people out of this. No, I get where you're. I totally see where you're going with this, because that is especially from a military background that I have, it's a wargaming scenario, and it's this idea that Gendro said it in the chat, is they do it because somebody else might do it, or they think somebody else might do it, so they do it to be the first, and that's not always a race you want to win. But the idea, while you were talking about it, my full thought on that was, this is gonna, some groiper in a basement is gonna make a super virus either on purpose or on accident, and it's gonna get out.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I froze there for a second. My connection went a little wonky. Jason says it's National Left-Handed Day today.
Lefties unite.
Lefties unite. I am not a lefty, but
I am. Don't hold it against me.
Yeah.
The scissors already do that enough for me.
Right. I mean, I am a lefty, but only in one thing.
Not our topic of conversation for today.
Not the topic. I think that is the mentality that is behind bioweapons research, behind nuclear research. It's also what is driving the AI frenzy, right? Is the idea that the fantasy that artificial general intelligence is out there and near, and that we need to get it before they do, whoever they is, right? Like it can be, it can be the Chinese or the Russians or whoever else is, working on AI. I think for the big AI frontier labs, like OpenAI and Anthropic, it's just the other guy, right? Like, Sam Altman doesn't want Dario, what's his name, to get it, and Dario, what's his name, doesn't want Google to get it. Like, they all want to be the first. They want to have the most powerful model, the most capable model. It is absolutely a scarcity mindset, Rose, and it is the thing that is driving this enormous push towards AI spending and AI growth. Maybe I wouldn't feel this way if I weren't in the middle of reading this Annie Jacobsen book at the moment, but like, I don't know how we're going to make it through the next 30 years, folks. I really don't.
I got myself muted there. Yeah, the scarcity mindset is scary. The ego mindset, or the ego-driven mindset, and this idea that they have to be the first, and move fast and break things to get there, which you would think at this point in our technological growth, we could have moved beyond move fast and break things and moved into move deliberately and create things, because then we could actually deliberately create positive outcomes for AI and tools like that. Because I use AI, like I use it. I think most of us use it for something, either as a research compilation engine to help get your sources together.
For sure.
I use it in coding so that I actually have the time to develop and
I built an app.
things.
I don't know how to build apps, Nick. Claude knows how to build apps. I wanted an app that tracked void of course moons, so I built it. It currently exists, moondark.app. You can go use it right now. We could do amazing things with AI if we were deploying it correctly and researching it correctly. China is building their LLM implementations in such a way that they are discipline specific. And then they are deploying that against their manufacturing base. And there are more factories in China right now that are fully AI optimized, meaning that every piece of equipment on the floor is connected to the overarching AI intelligence. They are doing it correctly. Those AIs are limited. They are not allowed to jailbreak. They are scoped to very specific sets of tasks, and then they are connected at the physical level to all of the devices that they need to, manufacture paper clips or whatever it is. And that is the kind of thing that we could be doing that would actually bring true on gain prody, right? I see my friend Ann Kramer has joined. Hi, Ann. I owe you an email. I'm very sorry. I will respond today, I promise. But we've been, when Ann was talking about, imagining an integrative economy, part of what we were talking about is that AI could be used to help alleviate scarcity in certain things. And what that would mean is that we had then additional capacity to care for the actual humans in our communities, right? And that if we did it right, we could build an economy that really did work for everybody. And China is doing that. They're doing it under the guise of total authoritarianism, which I don't know is what we would want, but they're at least deploying AI in a way that is smarter than what we are doing, which is absolutely the tech bro move fast and break things paradigm, which is just so fucking stupid.
Yeah. Also, Sam Altman's just a horrible person. So
really not a good man, right? Like not a good person.
Yeah. Like I believe there are like rape allegations against him and grooming and manipulation allegations against him from his sister.
Oh God, none of that would surprise me.
There are like the people in charge of all of this are the problem, or part of our major driving factor in the problem of why we can't have nice things in the US, because it's profit driven and not community or cooperation driven or benefit driven. It's just profit driven. And so how does the writing that you and Anne and the discussions that you and Anne had take into account AI? Like, what is a beneficial thing that if we were to actually properly regulate it, if we were to actually properly guardrail and use isolation and smaller components for AI so that they were highly specific and really good at what they do. And instead of being AI as artificial intelligence, we would transition it to AI as aggregated intelligence, and using an aggregated model of different smaller components build it. And that's a lot of what you were describing of what the Chinese manufacturing is.
Exactly.
But how do you see that in the US, and what type of what would be a super beneficial outcome that you could see if we embraced it properly?
Yeah, well, I don't know that Anne and I talked about this, and I haven't written about it yet. But Courtney just asked a question: do they do it for the healthcare industry too? And the answer is yes. There are AI implementations. I'll try to find the story and share a link after we're done here. But there are a number of AI tools that are aggregating healthcare information. So not being used by the insurance companies to deny people care, but rather in the diagnostic end, where an inexperienced or junior nurse or physician's assistant or doctor who may not have the broad experience to recognize weird one-off manifestations of rare diseases are able to make it a correct diagnosis for something that would have been missed previously, because that implementation of AI is basically taking sort of all of these case studies and diagnostic kind of criteria, and able to kind of see around corners and see what is actually happening with a patient. So I think the healthcare industry, Jason's right. Healthcare industry is why we're screwed. The fact that the healthcare industry is a thing,
is an industry and not a care system. Yeah.
Clear Root Intelligence is saying Health App and Apple can now be linked to ChatGPT. Do not do that.
Don't
please,
do that.
For the love of God, everybody listening, do not ever provide your private HIPAA information to ChatGPT or any other AI tool. Do not do that. You have no guarantee from those companies about the way that information will be used. They say they won't use it to train. I don't believe them. They say they won't sell it to insurance companies. I don't believe them. For the love of God, absolutely do not ever connect your personal HIPAA protected medical information to ChatGPT or any other. Just don't.
Bad life choice. That's a bad life choice. Like, I get people need it sometimes or use it for things that are like, I have this symptom right now. Should I go see a doctor? Like,
absolutely.
Ask questions, but do not feed it your heart rate monitor. Do not feed it your pregnancy or period trackers. And if you're on one of those, please get the fuck off of them. Please do not allow yourself to be tracked and trained on as a woman or a female presenting person who can have a child that is trying to have a child. Like, don't do that. That's how you get tracked by flock safety across borders, and or other types of things. Even don't trust duck AI. We like DuckDuckGo. Yeah, sure, it's secure. It's more secure than others, but don't trust duck AI either.
Yeah. We're really at a crossroads in so many ways as a country, as a civilization. The idea, you and I have talked about this previously. Another thing that I'm doing right now is I've got this list of like 43 or 44 big ideas for ways that we can fix American democracy. And it's, from the obvious and simple, like, a stock trading ban for members, for any elected official, all the way up to a second constitutional convention, right? And I'm doing this series right now called Rewiring the Republic, where I'm analyzing all of them from the easiest to the hardest. And one of the things that you and I have talked about before, Nick, is a digital bill of rights, right? Like
Yeah.
a right to digital privacy. You should own your likeness. You should own your voice print. You should own your DNA. You
There
should,
was a European nation that just did this, didn't
yeah,
they? That you own your face and it's a cop. Your body is basically a digital proof copyright.
yeah. I think it's Denmark, and I read more about this, and part of the reason that they did it in Denmark is because they actually had some of the worst laws with regard to kind of ownership of that, and so this was really fixing kind of an egregious gap in what existed in that nation. So it's great that they did it, but I think they were coming from a place of I don't know everything about it, so take that with a grain of salt. But it is something that we should be advocating for here, right? And a thing that we did talk about with the integrative economy thing was the idea that we all all the AI models trained on our data, right? Like it trained on human learning and human writing, and maybe there should be a sovereign wealth fund. Maybe somebody said something about nationalizing AI. What if we did? What if we Trump is suddenly taking ownership in all of these companies and nationalizing things? Like, what if we did take part ownership in the frontier labs, and that was part of a sovereign wealth fund, in the same way that Alaska has the permanent fund, right, from the profits from oil extraction in Alaska that gets paid out to citizens. Like, we need to be thinking of innovative ideas like this that are going to help us transition to an AI-driven economy where millions of people are going to be put out of work, and just to kind of think about ways that AI could be implemented, to the benefit of all, rather than. So I'm going to do another tangent. Sorry.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's this idea that I don't want to say like I came up with it, but like as I've been researching in AI, and thinking about kind of the way it's being implemented, there are kind of two camps that have developed, builders versus layerers, right? And OpenAI and Anthropic are builders. Like, they want to build the model, they want to build the best, the smartest, strongest, and ultimately what the builders want to do is they want to own all human information. When you think about what their ultimate goal is, they want artificial general intelligence, super intelligence, and they want to deploy their models in such a way that they could ultimately end up understanding everything about an industry, right? Everything about steel manufacturing, right? So that they could ultimately then kind of disintermediate the steel manufacturers. I know that sounds insane, but that is ultimately, I think, what the builders are trying to do. And the layerers are betting that AI is going to end up commodified, that it's going to end up cheap and ubiquitous, and there are going to be a million options for it. And what matters more is the interface that you're going to be. And Apple and in some way Microsoft are betting on the layerer model, where Apple is betting you care more about your iPhone and you care more about the ease of use in your iPhone than you care about which AI model is figuring out your shit for you, right? So Apple, people have been speculating that Apple's missing the boat, right? Apple and intelligence, Apple AI is massively behind everybody else. It looks like they're not even investing in it. It's because they are making a full company bet that layering is going to be the way that things are going to happen. And a couple weeks ago, when Moonshot AI in Beijing released Kimi K3 into the market and said, we're going to give it away for free, Apple ultimately looks like it is going to win, because Kimi K3 was as good as any Frontier Lab model for that moment in time. And they were giving away the weights for free. They were giving away the model for free. So, ultimately what Apple is betting, what other companies are betting in the layerer camp, is that is that AI, the actual intelligence piece, is going to become cheap and ubiquitous, and that the better bet is in the interface that you're interacting with the AI through. So,
which I mean makes a lot of sense. And Apple has done bets like this before,
yeah,
on various things, and they are a decent example of a company that often chooses the move deliberate and create things approach,
yeah,
because they tend not to be the first to things
right,
anymore,
right,
um, or ever, but they tend to be the interface layer that is just easy to use. Like, and just works for you, and you don't have to do a lot. Be that right or wrong, it is a business choice that they've made throughout their entire history that has worked out really well for them more often than not. They don't have to
yeah,
be the first, but they can be the best at it, which is one of the things that I think part of this really opens up in terms of like, we don't have to be the first to produce the AI. We don't have to be the first to do it in the economy. We just have to imagine it better. Like,
right,
we're not going to be the first. We are not the first nation that is going to regulate AI in any way, because other nations are better at it, or digital privacy rights. Other nations are doing it better already, but we can be the layered model of learning from what they've done and integrating what other nations have done to make a system that might actually work really, really well.
yeah,
So, as one of the questions I really want to ask on this is, let's say we do not die. Let's say we don't destroy ourselves. Let's say we actually take hold of the reins soon,
yeah,
before the models become incapable of being regulated. Let's say we take the reins and we do create a economy built on this sovereign wealth fund or a universal basic income, whatever you would want to call it. How do you see that being? What type of opportunity do you see that being to change the way we human and how we interact with each other?
yeah. I mean, I think that, I could imagine a future where um, what becomes important is ideas, unique ideas, and insights that can't come from a large language model, but that can only come from whatever the divine inspiration is that makes humans humans, right? That our brains can do, that other creatures and other intelligences can't do. Um, I I would love to imagine a future where we are liberated to focus on our art, and we can all find fulfilling lives through having our basic needs attended to, and then being given the freedom and the ability to kind of explore our unique talents. I would fucking love that utopian vision of AI well implemented, and something like Anne's integrative economy actually coming to fruition. That would be amazing. Um, yeah, I mean that's what I would like. That's my vote.
Good. Well, that's kind of my vote, and that's where we need to head if we want to get through this, to use AI in a responsible, ethical, and morally forward way.
Yeah,
Um, and Courtney, I think we could have an entire conversation around like, how would we break down AI, build it back up in a regulated way? What would
right.
guardrails look like? How would we need to implement model restrictions? And um, we didn't even get into, I wanted to ask, what do you think about, like, actually, I'll ask it real quick because we've got time. Is, what do you think about quantum computing and its implications on AI, because we were already on the verge of quantum computers
Yeah.
before AI became what it is, and or the large language models became what they are and how smart they have become. How do you think that could impact the development or the growth of a system that can now go not just ones and zeros, but 1, 0, and 2?
Yeah. I I mean, I don't even know that, like, I don't know that revolutionary is a big enough word, right? Like, um, I personally, this is just what I believe in the world. I have zero proof, but I do believe that one day I will be proven correct, that we are going to one day discover that our brains are quantum computers, and that there's something in our brain, some quantum cell or something, entangled with, again, this is my sci-fi, this is what I believe. I have no proof. I think dark matter and dark energy are actually intelligence. I think that's actually us, and that we are meat puppets, incarnated, into which larger intelligence is incarnated, and uh, we are ultimately all playing a giant game. And I think that quantum computing potentially, I don't know, unlocks that. I don't know where to go with that. That it's, I mean, I think it could be amazing. The thing that I think still makes us us is the idea that we can have insights and weird intuitions that aren't things that a conventional computer algorithm can arrive at. I think quantum computing potentially maybe not takes it off the board for us, but means that we're no longer unique in that case. Like, what does it mean if we create AI running on quantum computers that then has the ability to intuit or come up with an outlandish but ultimately provable premise for something? I mean, I think that's where the world the world is already changing in deep and profound ways, and I think that would be the thing that absolutely makes the future look like something we can't even predict or understand at this point. I mean, at that point, we basically
Yeah.
are going to end up with magic. Like, the end result is going to be magic.
Well, yeah, and I mean, any any technological advancement that is way beyond our current understanding either looks like magic or religion or God or
Right,
something.
right. The old Arthur C. Clarke quote. Exactly.
Because we can't conceptualize it yet, and so we have to put a label onto it. And if you can't conceptualize it, the easiest way to think about it is magic or mythology.
Right.
um, and this has been really fun. This was I we went on some
Yeah, I don't know
topics
that we
that I
talked about
wasn't.
intelligent masculinity, but we talked about a lot of really cool shit.
We talked a lot about a lot of really cool shit, but I think we touched on some really fun parts in not so much intelligent masculinity on its own, but in terms of like the human side and the human factor.
Mhm.
And especially when we were talking about your book and the characters that you have created from yourself and your lived experiences, and how that has played into your other types of writings and how you are envisioning things that could happen in the world, both on the dystopian and the utopian side. And I
Yeah.
think we need that. I think we need somebody who is coming up with the most either outlandish sounding but really creative utopian ideals that get people excited,
Yeah.
because you need that. We need something to drive for as a species, but individually, like, we all want something that is utopian. We want to be sold on an idea that we can all get there, or on the MAGA side that they can all get what they want and be as racist as possible without anybody saying anything against them because they're Nazi assholes and fuck them. And they love their neo Confederacy and they want slave catchers all around with electroshock gloves, which are going to kill people, and
Oh
eugenics
my God, those
practices
electroshock
in.
gloves. Jesus Christ. I
Oh my
know.
God. Yeah. That's that fucking story.
Yeah, that's
Is
probably my fucked up Friday story for tomorrow, assuming that Marlon or Dana don't also take it.
Yeah, that one's pretty fucked up. Is
Yeah,
I think we've covered a lot in around humanity and not masculinity, but what we could drive for is envisioning a utopia. Like we need something that unifies us on an idea of where we can all go together.
yeah,
And I think folks like you, and I say you because I know you and I know specifically how you write and the types of things you write, you can be a driving force in that, in creating a real message that people want to get behind.
yeah. I appreciate you
And
saying that because I'm 56. I think it has taken me this long in my life to realize, like, no, this is what I do. Like, this is like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
yeah, and being a dreamer in a way that is practical and applicable to others too
Yeah.
is sort of what I describe you. Like
Oh,
you are,
can I
yes.
say a thing that is
Uh-huh.
okay? I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You know that whole parable thing that we're all supposed to learn from as kids, the ant and the grasshopper, right? Like the ant is industrious and it keeps working and working and working, and the grasshopper, plays its violin and whatever. I've decided I fucking hate that parable. I hate it. Because what if you're a goddamn grasshopper? Are we teaching kids trans speciesism that like you're as a grasshopper you're supposed to aspire to be something that you're not? Like, what if I'm just a fucking grasshopper? What if that's what I am? Am I not good enough? I mean, grasshoppers exist. Grasshoppers
Yeah.
are valid. Grasshoppers bring value to the world. I'm supposed to want to be an ant instead? Fuck that shit.
Don't be an ant. Don't get crushed under someone's boot either. Like, don't be just a worker bee that has no mind of your own.
Right, right. Like
But yeah, that interspecies crossover, like, guys, don't you do we not see that we've been living with these metaphors of transitioning and growth and finding yourself and who you really are our entire lives? Like, it's okay.
right,
Like, it's
right,
okay to aspire to be who you think you should be or
right.
who you
Like
know you are.
if you're a grasshopper, be a motherfucking grasshopper, right?
Hell
Like,
yeah.
play your fucking fiddle and entertain the masses. Like do your thing. Don't let some fucking ant tell you that you should aspire to be an ant when you are actually genetically a motherfucking grasshopper.
Yeah, and don't let an ant tell you that you can't become a butterfly on top of that. Like, you can be whatever the fuck you want. Lawrence isn't doing what he did 2 years ago. And
Uh,
he has grown and transitioned into the human he is now. And I
right,
think we need to talk. I think if we use that language just more, like that would, it's inclusive, it's expansive, but it's also just basic right. Like it's just basically correct. Like
right.
that is, I thank you for bringing that up as like a important like
That's just
STEMmy
my
lesson at the
closing
end.
thought, right? I know we're a couple minutes over, but that's my closing thought.
Well, with your closing thought on be the grasshopper that you know you can be or that you know you are, promote yourself, promote the work that you're doing and where
I
people can find
I
you.
would love it if folks would subscribe to the Hinge and the Near Field, which is my personal Substack. I write about all kinds of things, like AI and the economy and ways that we can rewire our democracy. I write science fiction, specifically queer science fiction. I'm doing this thing where I write about what I think are hinge moments or hinge concepts currently uh, currently existing in our society, and then I like to take two of those hinge concepts and smash them together and write a speculative fiction short story that includes those two concepts as just a way of imagining sort of how the future might spin out based on the ideas that we are dealing with and grappling with today. So please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you can become a paid subscriber, I would love it. But of course, I get that we are all basically trying to do the same thing here on Substack. So thank you.
Thanks, Lawrence. And
Thanks,
also,
Nick.
I really like your new logo. That's super sleek.
Thank you. I call it my sigil, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's my initials, the L inside the W, and it kind of looks like a volcano.
It reminds me of, like, I'm reading through the Cradle series right now, which is another lit RPG series
Nice.
by Will White. It reminds me of some of, like, the sigils that you might see that they would forge to use their magic or their techniques, and it's got that arrowhead, and it feels like it's moving in a direction. I really like it.
Thank you.
Really like it.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Everyone, thank you so much for being here with me and Lawrence. All of you in the chat, really appreciate you. If you're here on Substack with us, hit that top left-hand corner and subscribe to both myself and Lawrence. Lawrence is a good friend of mine. He and I have known each other for almost a year now.
I know.
And actually, no, it's been longer than a year, because this was right around when we got together to start Banner and Backbone and work together to launch these types of civic discussions and and work together. But Lawrence, I really value the work you're doing. I think you're doing amazing things. I hope other people see that. And thank you all for listening in and being part of the conversation with us. I know we didn't touch on intelligent masculinity as a thing specifically, but we talked about humaning. And this discussion is a great building block. So thanks, everyone. Lawrence is someone who is done being sick of this shit. So now he's doing this shit. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks, Lawrence.
Thanks, Nick.